we need to get into what people believe to be Jung Kook's reaction to new photos and videos of Jin coming out, and then we have to look into Jin at the camp and some of the exercises he had to endure and the concern the fandom is having. And then we have a story involving a pretty shocking HYBE policy. So hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, he's spilling mug merch, and let's go. The internet was quite shocked at the several rules that HYBE has had for the boys. Even given how big they have gotten and even their big ownership of the company, you'd think that a lot of these rules don't apply. But a lot of the fandom thinks that rules are bad because some of the fandom is younger and they're thinking that any rule must be a bad rule because the boys should be able to do whatever they want. But of course, rules are there for a reason and it's to help the boys. Even a very common rule that seems too strict, unreasonable, and just mean, like the dating rule, is there for the protection of the idol. HYBE doesn't have a dating rule, I don't think, but other labels do, and it's there to avoid the fandom getting upset. It's not there because the label wants control over the idols. It's there so the label and the artist don't lose out on money, or worse, that we have seen that some idols who have went ahead and dated have lost their career. So that is almost 100% for the protection of the idols. Given that BTS is so big, these rules are probably stricter because there's going to be more people who would try to ruin BTS's reputation or image for the sake of some quick viewership. Because let's be real here, if there was a TV segment making up a story about how rude they were, we may not believe the story, but I think all of us would watch and be like, wait, what happened? So because of that, media, K-media, TV are all more likely to do that with a big artist rather than a small rookie group. Jin, in one of his last appearances before the enlistment, did a web show called My Alcohol Diary. It's a great show where the host and the guest, in this case Jin, drinks alcohol and talks about their feelings. One of the most shocking things Jin revealed was that this was his first appearance in a long time that did not involve HYBE's team but was filmed with another company. So typically BTS only films things that HYBE's in-house camera crew or production team helps film. And then I guess if they want the content to be on a platform like TV or whatever, they would just submit the content to TV. So things like In the Soup, which did air on TV, I personally believe was recorded by HYBE and then sent to TV for approval. This is smart too as a business move because TV and other independent filmmakers, if they have the budget, could hire a HYBE production team if they have a film or movie they want to make. However, I don't know if their services are for sale. BTS also has Bon Voyage, a travel show, and other reality shows all filmed by HYBE. If you want to watch those with me, we do have a $1 tier on Patreon that is currently open with limited spots. So if you're interested, I hope to see you there. I will link that in the description. Anywho, the fact that Jin only participates 99% of the time in HYBE productions, this is excluding probably award shows and American talk shows. That was very shocking to ARMYs because very few artist labels do that. And this was a rule that HYBE had in order to protect the image of their artists. And could be a reason why BTS is so big, because HYBE made sure that every single image and moment of BTS was in BTS's best light. So this is a good thing, and I'm seeing more artists start to go about this method and just put out variety show content on their own. Stray Kids does this. They have their own series on YouTube called SKZ Code. I also react to this on Patreon, and this is likely filmed by JYP and just released on their channel. I can only imagine a lot of people are watching this My Alcohol Diaries and all the previous Jin appearances, since Jin has not been able to be on any show or appearance since joining the military. There are still a lot of issues online over the idea of whether or not the photos that have been released by K-media and the military are okay to be released. Well, a lot of these media sites that have released photos of Jin at the camp are news sites that have worked with BTS directly in the past. HYBE would have direct contact to these news sites if this was an issue. The only situation in which I would imagine would be something HYBE would have a problem with is if these photos make Jin look bad in any light. So if he was doing something rude to someone and that would ruin his reputation, that's something HYBE would likely try to get involved in. Or situations where maybe the reporter caught Jin completely naked in the showers, stuff like that is the issue. But seeing stuff where Jin is just at the camp, again, I've said this before, the reporters need permission to even go in the camp. They don't open the camp for the public to just waltz in. So one, the reporters do have permission, and two, these photos that we see of Jin at the camp don't make him look bad. I don't think Jin or HYBE cares. In fact, Jin might want this, as this helps Jin stay top of mind with his audience. While he is gone, there's so many people with different opinions, and a lot of them are not people who are in the industry and don't understand that this is just typical of the industry and not even a problem. Now keep all that in mind. I am going to circle back to it. A lot of people were saying that back in 2019, Jung Kook left social media for a long time because of the invasion of privacy. So the idea was that we hadn't had a selfie or any type of post from Jung Kook, and people assumed it was because of stalkers and Jung Kook didn't feel like posting. It's possible. The other theory, and the more likely theory that I believe is true, is just that either he didn't feel like posting or just had nothing to post, or HYBE just didn't ask them to post. I also believe a lot of the stuff, even their personal account, is somewhat monitored by a specific staff who can determine if the content is going to be problematic. Not to say that Jung Kook's content was problematic, but what if for ages none of the things he submitted to the social media manager was approved? Because to be honest, I don't believe the members sit there and post the stuff to their group's Twitter account. I think that's done by someone else. That's just my conspiracy, because you can kind of see how everything is scheduled so perfectly and strategically. So I don't think it was a stalker situation, because if it was, then BTS themselves would not make any appearances for 2019 in fear of that. It wouldn't just be Jung Kook. Now, a lot of the people who are saying with the recent Jin military photos being quote-unquote leaked that Jung Kook and the other members are going to not be on social media this coming year in fear of stalkers, like what was believed Jung Kook did in 2019. But the photos that came out of the camp are not from stalkers, but from reporters who probably have consent. So that doesn't make sense to me. I don't think any members are going to be upset. I don't think Jung Kook is begging like, stop posting this stuff. I don't think he cares. It's also pretty cool to see Jin and what he has been up to. I know that's a controversial thing to say too, but I am enjoying the updates and seeing that he is okay. There was a new photo that came out that got a lot of attention and people were freaking out. It was a photo where his colleagues and soldiers were dumping water on Jin's face. Some people were saying that he was being bullied and attacked, which is not true, and then others had a different concern. So what has been reported that had happened was that Jin was doing CBR training. This is chemical, biological, and radiological training. So this sounds scary and can be. I've never done it, obviously, so I can't talk about whether it's painful or not, but it's believed Jin just finished a gas chamber training. This is pretty typical training in the military. They don't just do this in Korea. This is also something in the American military as well. You're locked into a gas chamber for about 5 minutes. You are exposed to a specific type of gas that is controlled, so it's not lethal. You have a mask on for a little bit, and then you're instructed to take it off so you can be exposed to the gas with your eyes, lungs, and skin. The gas is typically known as tear gas, so it just makes you cry, but it is known to burn your skin a bit until you shower, and then the burning is allegedly gone. I cannot personally confirm that. But the actual time in which you are exposed to the gas is believed to be nowhere more than a minute, so not too bad. And it's nowhere near deadly, and it's just training to get the soldiers used to this, because in combat the other team will throw these types of chemical things at you. So after they leave the gas chamber, typically what soldiers will do is just dump water on their face to get the chemical off their skin. So what we see in the photo is just possibly Jin's skin burning a bit, and then his colleagues and friends are just dumping some water on his face to get the chemical off. No bullying here. By the way, I had to do a lot of research for this and read other soldiers' experiences. I didn't know any of this stuff, so if I missed something is incorrect, or if you have personal experience that's different, please let us all know. People were upset at this, saying that Jin was hurt or that the military is bad, but this is not something that is mandatory. Let's say, apparently, according to the other soldiers who have done it, if you just simply say that you have any sort of medical condition like a skin issue, the military will let you just opt out of this activity and you don't have to do it. And apparently they won't even check if it's true. For Jin, it probably would be easier given he is a singer, and if he says, I need to not put my lungs through this, he could probably get out very quickly. But he chose to do it and to not get any special treatment. He wanted to experience it and be there with his new friends, and it's also something to talk about when they're all together in the bunker, to be like, wow, that was a crazy experience, right? But no, Jin is fine. Please don't think he is being mistreated or hurt badly here. It was probably just uncomfortable for a minute or two, and in 2023, what is not uncomfortable lately? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.